So the first thing you need to learn when we talk about work ethics, let me just tell what's going on. What's going on with my computer today? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of don'ts. So these are the things that you should not be doing. So the first one is don't reply all to an email chain. So you've seen the email when I send you email, and all your email addresses there is in a CC in, CC in the people, so all of you can see them. When you want to respond to me, you just say reply to me. Don't press the reply all, otherwise it will go to everyone, and then the whole conversation will be read. And also, when you don't want other people's email addresses to be seen, then you must put in a blind copy. So I'm not sure if you know how to do that. Have you done that before? Yeah? Okay, cool. So you know that. Good. Okay. Okay. The number 2 is don't have personal conversations at your desk. So that is when you are, you can think of it as, when I say at your desk, also think of it as your students. So when you are at college, it's just, in college, obviously you can get away with a lot more, but when in a work environment, you don't have personal conversations where everyone can hear you. Having a personal conversation at your desk can be distracting to your co-workers, and it may also open you up to gossiping about people, about someone who can't leave their personal life at home, which is not good for your professional image. Number 3 is don't bring your emotions into the office. So it's best to leave your personal emotions at the door. Your desk neighbor doesn't want to hear your horribly sad story from the weekend. Number 4 is don't be afraid to ask questions. So asking questions, no matter how silly they may seem, will help you clarify expectations and also avoid confusing projects. And there's obviously little worse than being overconfident, especially if it isn't actually backed up by experience or skill. Number 5 is don't gossip about fellow workers or your boss. Gossiping is one of the cardinal sins at the office work. It's just a simple don't do it. Whether you're tempted to gossip about your boss, co-worker, or the company as a whole, you're not just hurting them, but most importantly, hurting your own reputation. Number 6 is don't use emojis or multiple exclamation points in a work email. So this bit of advice will depend on the specifics of your workplace. So some workplaces may embrace emojis in a relaxed conversation, and others may expect a level of formality at all times. So just be aware of the situation within your organization. For instance, emojis could potentially work in an organization like Google, but it's not going to work in a law firm. You understand that? Work emails don't need to be all serious at every time, but you should remain a sense of professionalism so that others can see you as competent expert that you are. When you are in doubt, always communicate professionally in your workplace emails, regardless of how relaxed your superiors might seem. Now, after you've spent some time on the job, you'll have a better idea of what is deemed appropriate in your workplace. Number 7, don't talk back to your boss. This bit of advice should probably go without saying, but it's an important one nonetheless. Even if there isn't much of an age difference between you and your boss, you should never talk back to them. Always show them respect and do your part not to be sarcastic or glib. So this is not to say that you can't disagree with them about aspects of the job or project or company strategy, but you should always feel free to share thoughts or concerns if you've got them. But in the way that you do this always matters, right? So hopefully you will have the chance to climb the career ladder someday, and you will want to have your boss in your corner to help you get there, right? Number 8 is don't forget about socials. So what that means is when you're at a social event, you're basically still at work. So company outings can be a great opportunity to socialize with your co-workers and get to know them. But it's important not to forget that while you should be yourself, you're still among your office mates who you'll be working side by side tomorrow, right? So be especially careful not to overdo it, especially if you have a couple of drinks. Everyone will know why you called in sick the next day. Number 9 is don't be nervous, but also don't overstep boundaries. So in the workplace, you'll often find yourself walking a very fine line, how to present yourself, and you want to be respectful, but you don't want to come across as being stuffy. So you want to appear confident, but not overstep your boundaries. So you want to express your opinion, but you need to keep them G-rated. It's a very fine balancing act that will take some trial and error on your part. So just keep on trying as long as you know that you're giving it your best. That's the most important thing, right? Number 10, I say don't forget an umbrella. So it might sound silly, but it's important to be prepared for all of life's annoyances, even at work. So here in Scotland, it gets very, very rainy quickly. The weather change often. So it's always good to have an umbrella close by, because if you rock up at your event with wet clothes, it's not going to be fun. Or walking around with a coffee stained shirt because your coffee lid was popped off is not going to be fun, right? So imagine going to meetings and you've got this big coffee stain on your shirt. And if you've had lunch, always go check in the bathroom. There's not something stuck in your teeth, especially if there's pepper or spinach. So maybe always have like a little care kit in your bag so that you've got some floss or like a breath mint or something like that, that you can just quickly check, go check yourself in the bathroom before you go and have that important meeting. So always pack an umbrella, spare pair of shoes, when the shoe break, dental floss, and a change of shirt. So that will always set you apart. Now, we've got the workplace etiquettes, which is the do's. And the first one is do arrive early. So you will be remembered for answering your phone at 8:01 in a world where tardiness is common, especially in major cities where traffic can cause all kinds of headaches. So you'll also be noticed if you consistently show up 15 minutes after everyone else, just not in the way that you want to. So being late is it's a mindset, and for me personally, it's always been a challenge. In my family, it's just how it's done. So we've got like a in-house joke that if you invite any one of our family members to an event, you lie to us and tell us that it's an hour earlier, so that we can be an hour late and be on time for the event. So it really took a lot of practice during my professional career to try and be early. So in my mind, I just program myself that the event actually starts a half an hour before it actually starts, so that I will still be late, but at least I'll be on time. So I won't be that 30 minutes. So say the event starts at 9, I'll tell myself that the event starts at 8:30, so that I start preparing myself to leave at 8, if it takes me half an hour to get there. But then I know I will still be a little bit late, but then I'll always arrive on time. It's little tricks that you have to try, whatever works for you. Number 2, do network with people outside of your immediate space, your immediate department. So it's important that you complete your work on time and up to standard. but it's also remember that a perk of having a job at a company you appreciate is meeting other people with similar interests who can share advice from the past experience that you can use on the job, right? That's why it's important to take networking opportunities seriously, especially when you're first starting on the job. Grabbing coffee or lunch with your co-workers, attending a happy hour or any other company functions, and simply making yourself available can go really far. It's just that little bit of extra time that you put in to get to know the person better and for them to get to know you better. And most business deals get taken place outside of the work environment. It's unfortunately one of those things. And people are people, no matter where you come from or what you do, no matter how much money you've got in that bank account or what job title you have, you are still a human first. And humans like to do business with people that they like. So you might have the best job, or you might have the best business proposal, or whatever the case is. But if you're not a nice person to deal with, chances are you're going to have to work 3 times as hard as everyone else to try and get that contracts or that business opportunity or job. Number 3 is do be willing to help out a co-worker. So one of your co-workers asks you for help in completing a task, you should generally just say yes, as long as you feel that you can realistically help them, number 1. While number 2, also be able to hit your own deadlines. And number 3, don't get taken advantage of. So you will quickly know when they just using you, and that's never okay. Never okay. That's where you have to be brave enough to put up your boundaries and say, you know what, I actually helped you the other day. I actually was in trouble with my own project. I couldn't deliver on time. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have I can't help you this time. You just, it's really important to be able to stand up for yourself at the same time. Number 4 is a cute little one, and I promise you it makes a world of difference. If you're the one that bring in some goodies every now and again, goodies means something that you can eat. So there's one thing that most of us enjoy doing, and that's we like to eat. We like enjoying different foods, especially if you're from a different culture and you come to the office and bring some of your something cultural to you, you know, from your experience, and you bring it to the office. It will be something that they will retweet, they'll take photos, they'll thank you, they'll write an email, and they'll talk about that for months. I promise you, it really works. And that can also be, you know, a nice way to stand apart, to show that you are a leader. So that, say for instance, the team has gone through like a big project and it was successful, and maybe the boss is not one of those who enjoy celebrating the successes. You bring it in and say, you know what, I just thought we could do with a little bit of a treat for ourselves. Here we go, something nice just for us to celebrate. You will automatically be seen as the leader and stand apart from your counterparts. Don't forget the small stuff. Number 5 is to create a proper personal email address. So it isn't uncommon to need to communicate with your co-workers after hours or on the weekends. So many organizations allow employees to log into work email remotely. Some do not. It is important in these cases that you have a professional email address in the event that you need to send an email to a co-worker or your boss. So maybe when you're a teenager or you're a student, you can be called Foxy Chick 123, but it's not going to be the same impression versus your first name dot last name at gmail.com, for instance, or even if it's just, you know, your name dot I don't know, whatever country you are born in, or the initials of your surname, something that shows who you are, that shows just a little bit of professionalism. Number 6 is do jump at the chance to complete a new task. So if your boss, superior, or co-workers ask you to work on a task that you've never worked on in the past, it's very natural to feel nervous and say no. But that's no reason to decline the work. Accepting new projects can expand your skill set and can also lead to exciting opportunities down the line, right? So you were likely chosen because you had the confidence in your abilities. So just make sure to ask questions, seek advice, make sure you're on the right track before getting too bogged down in the task. And that's why I keep telling you, use this opportunity with me at this internship to test all these things out. Try all these things out. This is your safe environment. No one's going to judge you. You're not going to lose your job. You're not going to get penalized for anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? Use this opportunity to try all these things out. Ask questions. It's so important to continuously ask questions, especially if it's a new project. Number 7 is be flexible. So sometimes you're going to be tapped for a project or initiative that requires you to be flexible. You might be asked to work earlier or later hours than usual, or you might be asked to perform duties or tasks that you've necessarily, you don't know how to do it, or it wasn't in your job description when you were hired. So there may come a day when you're asked to work a holiday, either to cover someone else's shift or to usher a project through to completion. It's never fun to work on a holiday or a weekend or to do someone else's job, but being there, willing to roll with the punches, demonstrate that you value the company and take your role seriously, and you're a leader, which will only help you in the long run. So I'm on a board of directors for a charity, and recently they asked someone to go attend a concert in the name of the charity. Now, it was on a Saturday night at 7 o'clock at night on a Saturday. So no one volunteered. So eventually I said, okay, fine, if you don't find anyone, I will do it for you. And now I know I did it. And they raised a lot of money at the event extra. If I wasn't there, wouldn't have raised as much money. And now next time, when there's a favor to be asked, I can with great confidence say, you know what, I'm busy, and they won't roll their eyes, or I won't get the evil eye or whatever, because I've done my part. Does that make sense? And when there's other opportunities coming up, that is great. I can also raise my hand and say, I would like to do those things, because I've already offered to volunteer for things that I didn't really want to do and no one else wanted to do. Number 8 is to dress appropriately for the office. So what constitutes as appropriate will depend on the particular culture of your workplace. It's always a good idea to dress to impress, especially when you're first starting a new role at a company. And even if you don't have a formal dress code, save the crop tops, the flip-flops, and the see-through shirts for the weekend. No one will take you seriously if you don't. Number 9 is make sure your earbuds are plugged in securely to your computer, like the earbuds. I don't think I'm saying it right. When you're wearing your earphones, should be plugged in properly. Sorry?
Oh, headphones. That's the word you were looking for.
Thank you. Headphones. So make sure that the headphones are plugged in properly in the computer. So I don't know if you've ever made the mistake of listening to music or video on your laptop or phone in public, and then you realize that your headphone wasn't plugged in properly and everyone was listening to your music. Yeah. take it from me, it's not only embarrassing in the workplace. Your co-workers don't want to hear your lyrics streaming from 2 Chainz Pandora station. Number 10 is do be open-minded. So whether you're taking on new work, building relationships, or advancing in your career, you should do your best to remain open-minded. Nothing is known for certain, right? And being flexible and open to change will only help you in the long run. 11 is my favorite. Do wear a smile. Having a positive attitude about being at work will affect your job performance significantly. Appearing happy, friendly, and approachable at work can do wonders for your career. Never, ever underestimate the power of a smile. I promise you. And I'm not saying sitting like this all throughout every single meeting and every single talk, but it's just a general sense of positivity. That's the word. And if in doubt, practice putting your smile on your face. It actually was proven to boost your happiness levels. So if you sit like this and you just do this, literally just lift your corners up, it instantly releases dopamine into the brain. It tells your brain that you're actually happy. So when you're feeling sad and you're feeling unhappy and feeling bored, just do this. I promise you, it's just a little mind trick that helps you to overcome it. Last but not least, it's okay to make mistakes. It's 100% understandable to be nervous as you move into your first job or after graduation. And when you make a career change to completely new, or you make a career change in a completely new company, it's also important to remember that it's okay to make mistakes and nobody is perfect, right? So as long as you're constantly growing and learning from those mistakes, and you make an effort to stop making the same mistake in the future, your boss and co-workers will notice, and so will you. And that's where your confidence will come from. It's by when you make a mistake, then you increase, you learn from that mistake, you take a lesson away from it, and you make it right. It's also good practice to take ownership for mistakes made. Nothing says I'm a leader more than if you made a mistake and you actually had the courage to come up to the boss or the co-worker and say, listen, I stuffed up. I'm so sorry. Is there anything that I can do to fix this? They will appreciate you and they will admire you for your courage, for stepping up and admitting what you've done. And then say, I don't know actually how to do this. I don't know how to do this better. Can you maybe help me? And there's always someone who's willing to help you, I promise you. People love to help other people. That's the biggest thing I've learned over the past 3 years since living here in Scotland. You know, especially starting a business when no one knew my name, and a country and a culture I did not understand from anywhere. People love to help. I just had to stick my pride in my pocket and reach out to people on LinkedIn or email and say, listen, I'm new in the country, I'm in this industry, can you maybe have 5 minutes for me in a conversation so I can just learn a bit more about the industry? 9 out of 10 times people said yes. And that's how I started.